Can Lane Kiffin win 3 national titles in 3 years in college football 26 Dynasty? Today we're going to find out. I'm going to sign this contract with Ole Miss, and the idea here is that we go from Ole Miss to LSU to either USC or Tennessee and win a national championship at all 3 of them to complete the Lane Kiffin story. But really, we just want to do 3 national championships in 3 years with any 3 different teams that we can get to, and there's only a couple things that I can do. I can change the schedule, I can improve the coach through XP. I can make changes to the auto subs kind of towards the end of the season to make it show we play the best players in the best games. And I can get into the transfer portal when I get to a new team. Other than that, I just have to sim through the season and see how it goes and see if we can get 3 national championships in 3 years. So before we get started, make sure that you like and subscribe, and let's make some changes to the custom schedules before we start simming ahead here. I'm going to actually take Washington State out. I don't like that scary game in the middle of the season. Put in South Alabama just as a kind of weaker team that we can play there. And we're going to sim up to the LSU game, sim to week 5, and see if we can get through these first 4 games undefeated. End up losing to Tulane, who's 2-2. It's not even like they're undefeated, by 7 points. We lose by a touchdown. Still in the top 25. Still undefeated in the SEC, but that's a tough loss there. Now, LSU here, they already have 2 losses in the season. This is a big game going into the bye because this is not an easy schedule at the end after that South Alabama game. So LSU win here would be great, getting us back into the top 20 in the AP and getting us on the right foot in the SEC. To that end, I'm going to reduce the I'm going to go more to grind it out with our wide receivers just because the top of our wide receiver room is quite a bit stronger than after we get out of the top 3. So I want to make sure that we have them in most of the game against LSU. I thought about doing that with running back as well. I think I actually will. I think I'll focus on making sure that Lacey gets a lot of carries in this game because we really need to win against LSU. Grind it out on halfback. Grind it out on wide receiver, and let's see what happens. Big win. We get an SEC Defensive Player of the Week, 4-1, 3-0 in, or 2-0 in conference. We're in the top 16 in the country. Definitely on our way to be battling for a playoff spot at the end of the season. We got a couple teams that we got to play up there, like South Carolina, like Georgia, and I think Florida was high ranked. Maybe Florida just recently lost. Oh, Florida's right below us. So we've got a couple teams right around us that we have to play through the end of the season. A rough stretch. We lose by 1 on the road at Georgia, by a touchdown and a 2-point conversion on the road at Oklahoma. We do have a game that we can make it up for against number 2 South Carolina, but 3 losses with one of them against a G5 opponent might keep us out of the playoff. Let's see. I think 3-2 is probably not great in the SEC race, but let's see if we are near the top. Okay, there is a chance. There is a chance. This win would be huge, and then we just need Alabama to trip up at some point to give us a chance here. Alabama just lost to South Carolina. They got LSU, Oklahoma, Auburn. The problem is that Georgia and Oklahoma are 2 of the other teams that have 2 losses, so we'll already have lost the head-to-head there. Maybe they can lose to Texas. We probably want Texas undefeated, and Oklahoma's probably already lost to Texas. We need them to lose to Tennessee and beat Alabama. So a couple things need to happen, but first and foremost, we need to win this game against South Carolina this week. Huge win. We are back in the top 25 with a win over South Carolina by 2, it looks like. By 2. So there's a couple points that could change this season completely. We only beat Kentucky by 2. We lost by a touchdown to Tulane. We only lost to Georgia by 1 point, only lost to Oklahoma by 8 points. So there's a lot of changes that could happen with just a few points one way or the other. But as it stands, we are in the race for the SEC title game. With that win, we have an easier schedule through the rest of the season if we can win out. Alabama still needs to lose. They just had a bye week, so LSU hopefully can come through for us. Oklahoma did lose again, so that part is taken care of. Georgia beat Florida, but they still have to play Texas. There is a chance here. If just Alabama can slip up once, we have a chance to get in there. We're right at the precipice. Okay, so it doesn't look like we made the conference championship game, but we are right on the edge. We're at number 11 at 9-3. Ooh, Okay, so we need to see what this conference championship setup looks like because Illinois, Tennessee, Texas, we're all on the edge here. It looks like Tulane is probably going to win and knock one of us down, but we're at 11, which might end up being very, very important. Oh, wrong one. Very, very important at the end here if there's only one team that's going to jump in. Let's see. Okay, so conference championship game. So we need Louisville to win. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so as long as Louisville wins their conference championship game, we're in. If Louisville doesn't win their conference championship game, we need Texas or BYU to lose by a lot so that they can drop below us. Probably Texas is the most likely one there that we need to lose by a lot to drop below us. We didn't get into the conference championship game, but I think we're the third team in the SEC if my memory would be, yeah, we were right there. So if Alabama would have lost, we would have gotten in. A&M beat Texas towards the end of the season. That guaranteed their spot in there and probably gave us a chance to get in if we have trouble with Louisville there. But let's go ahead and just sim to the bracket and see if we make it in. Mateer wins the Heisman, but guess what, brother? We are in the CFP, and we play Louisville. So Louisville did end up losing in the ACC Championship game. We somehow jumped up to number 10 and still made it in. And probably is the last team in with both Tulane and Miami making it in at the end. Let's go ahead and look at this bracket to see what happened there. Yeah, Miami killed them. Miami still didn't make it. It was Boise State and Tulane that jumps in. Texas won as well. How did we jump up? Illinois made it. Michigan made it. How did we jump up? It must have been, what was the Big 12 championship game? It was the Big 12 championship game that changed everything. How did we get in here? BYU got smacked in the Big 12 championship game. That gave us enough to jump up to number 10 and save us from getting jumped over at the end. Wow, rough loss for BYU. Very, very, very reminiscent of what happened in real life. Ole Miss makes it in. BYU is the first team out. That's crazy. Okay, so we play against Louisville in the first round. But we also have to think about the next season. So what offers do we get in this first setup here? Okay, I think the obvious one is we go to Oklahoma. We got to go to Oklahoma here. We have Heisman Trophy winner. He's probably going to leave, but Oklahoma is the option there. We could go to, it's the OC for Michigan, so it doesn't make sense to go to Michigan. So we're going to go to Oklahoma next season. We don't get the offer to go to LSU, don't get the offer to go to USC or Tennessee, but I think you can't pass up the Oklahoma offer, even if the LSU one comes next week. We need to take the Oklahoma offer and get to our next program. So that is a very good start. Let's see. We're going to go back and actually do the auto sub thing again, getting our, making sure that we run Lacey and that we keep our top receivers on the field for the college football playoff matchup on the road at Louisville. Let's go. We get a first round win. Let's go. Let's go. We're on the road here going against Indiana in the next round in the Rose Bowl. We just saw what happened to the SEC teams in the Rose Bowl against Indiana. Can we at least score a touchdown in this game? Oh, all right. Let's hire some staff as we get ready for that game. That is a tough second game there. I didn't even look at who would be playing in the next round. Okay, let's see. We want Silverfield is probably going to go to Ole Miss. And let's see if we can offer him our offensive coordinator. He's the best one available. So let's see if we can offer him that, get the North Florida thing in there. Ooh. And Jim Mora, if we can get two 30-level coaches, both actually 37, then that would be a good start for our coordinatorship there. Let's look at this bracket. We didn't pay attention. So we won by 5 against Louisville on the road. Tulane loses. Boise State loses. Illinois gets the upset over Michigan. So it's Texas, Alabama in a rematch of the SEC championship game, which Texas just won. Illinois, Texas Tech, Georgia, Texas A&M. That is also an SEC game. So 5 SEC teams make it to the second round, including us against Indiana here, taking on either Georgia, who we lost to by 1 earlier in the season, or Texas A&M, who we didn't play. So let's sim, see if we get our coordinators, but more importantly, do we get this win against Indiana? Hotty toddy, baby, let's go. Another win. We're on to the semifinal after beating Indiana in the Rose Bowl. Who are we going to play? Okay. Harrison Wallace had 151 and 3 tuds. That's what happens when you make some changes in auto subs. And we're going to get a rematch against Georgia in the Fiesta Bowl, the Verbo Fiesta Bowl. We lost by 1 last time. Can we get revenge this time? We've got Silverfield. Do we get Mora as well? We don't get Mora. Okay. We got to hire a defensive coordinator. But we got Silverfield. That is good. Okay, this Oklahoma pipeline. We have the North Florida pipeline. What is Southern California? Okay, so let's go South Florida pipeline, right? Yeah. What I think Warlow is probably the best option there, so we can get some of those South Florida guys in the transfer portal. But we're on it. We're on it now. We're 1 win away from a national championship game. We won by 5 yet again against Indiana. We will take on Georgia. We lost at home? No, we lost on the road to Georgia during the regular season. So this is a neutral site game, and we only lost by 1. Maybe, what do they say? The books say 3.5 points for a home game. We'll see if we can, we're technically closer to Arizona. See if we can make that change here in the Fiesta Bowl. So we got our defensive coordinator, but we fall short in the Fiesta Bowl against Georgia. What was the final score here? We lost by 12, so it was even worse than during the regular season. It's a Georgia-Alabama national championship. Who cares about that? But he pretty good first season at Ole Miss, getting to the semifinal against Georgia after kind of a rough start, losing that early game to Tulane. Found our way out of that. So let's go ahead and sim to the transfer portal and see if we can get further with Oklahoma next year. So Alabama ended up winning the national championship. We did increase XP for offensive linemen, increased interest, just to try to help that out. We have quite a few players leaving here, which is not great. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to bring Mateer back. But let's see if we can bring David Stone. This is playing style. See if we can bring David Stone back, maybe. Okay. All right, we're just going to go through all the top ones and see. Couldn't convince anybody to come back, so we lose all of those players, including Mateer. We're going to have to hit the transfer portal hard because this team was 6-7 last year. Let's kind of look at what the depth chart looks like to see what we need to go after. So Hawkins is going to stay. That wouldn't be a terrible quarterback for next year. We definitely want to hit quarterback. We're losing Blaylock, I think. But the rest of the guys seem like they're going to stay. Well, Ott is out, but it seems like Robinson is going to come back. So we could have a good halfback for next year. Our wide receivers, we're losing Burks to the draft. Satenya, I can't remember if he's staying. Sategna, I don't know how you say that name exactly. We're probably going to want to get a wide receiver or 2 because we're losing 2 of our top 3. Same thing for tight end. Linemen, okay, so the offensive line is really what we're worried about here. And we actually have quite a few of these players coming back. Maybe guard is where we'd want to hit it. But we have a lot of these players coming back next season. So that should be good. We're going to hit the lines and get a top-level quarterback is going to be our main focuses in the transfer portal. Okay, we made some big moves in the transfer portal here, and I think it's going to pay off. We brought Kewan Lacey in from Ole Miss. That is the biggest move that we made. He was the best player on our board. We did bring in some big wide receivers. That's like one of our 4 big wide receivers that we brought in. I want to see if we were able to bring Stone back, our defensive tackle from last year. We got Dylan Riley at the last minute. I think he's Boise State running back. We got him at the last minute. Didn't chase him the whole time. Interesting. We don't get Stone. What happened there at the end? Because there were some players that we were at that didn't. Okay, so we didn't get Stone back. He went to Penn State. But we were after Sagapotele. Did he come? He did it, end up going to Michigan. I don't know why it didn't show us that. Okay, so we did miss out on a couple of them, but that's fine. We were able to get Colton Joseph, who was, I think, the Old Dominion quarterback. He was also a 4-star, so we brought him in. The big get was Lacey here. We lost out on some of our top ones. We tried to get Lomu at the end, but I think we got a good couple running backs. This was our top high school player, so I think we did pretty well. Actually, I want to see where we were at with the portal rankings and top classes in general. So we were number 14 overall, but in the transfers, we've got to be towards the top. Okay, top 10 portal class. We didn't get any 5-stars. The only 5-star that shows up is, I guess Hardy was a 5-star. Simmons is the one that usually gets in there, but I didn't see these other two. But we did do a pretty good job in the portal. We were 6-7 last year. Can we get to the college football playoff at least with the changes that we've got here? Let's look at the position changes. Okay, so I think our offense is going to be pretty crazy this year. We got Colton Joseph as our starter. I don't know how great he's going to be, but he's going to have crazy backfield with Kewan Lacey, with Robinson, with Riley. Basically, all of these dudes are going to be really great next year. Our wide receiver room is stacked. We brought in Wyatt Young. We had Satania that came back. A bunch of these guys that we brought in, probably too many players to be honest, but it wasn't really letting me change their position, so that's going to be a little tough. But our offensive line is also really good with 80s across the board, and really, we're going to be able to throw the ball down the field. Now on defense, we're technically rated higher, which I'm not really sure why, because our defensive line is fine, but are really rough at the linebacker position. Our corners are not super great, and then our safeties are not also super great. So I'm not sure why we're ranked so high. Maybe it's because we're going to be able to get pressure on the quarterback. But either way, the offense is going to be able to score points. We should be fighting for an SEC championship game this season. So these are changes we are absolutely going to make. We are not going to play Michigan and then go play Georgia the next week. I don't care about anything else. We're not going to do that. We are going to play Tulsa that week if they're available. We're going to play... there we are. We're going to play Tulsa that week, get an in-state rival. We are not going to play Michigan in the second week of the season and follow it up to have Georgia come play us here. So we're actually going to play 3 straight home games to start the season, UTEP, Tulsa, and then Georgia, because then we're going to have to play Texas, A&M, Florida. Not a super hard schedule, but after that. But these 3 games here are going to be tough, and that Georgia game is going to be tough. We're trying to win a national championship, not live up to scheduling agreements. All right, so we're still unranked here. Not a great start. We get 2 wins. They're not 2 good wins. Then we lose to Georgia at home by 20 points. So that's not super great. I kind of want to see what went wrong in this game, how we lost by so much. Gave up 500 yards, almost 50 points. The defense is not a 90 overall if you're doing that. Do we have any kind of turnovers? 1 turnover. We just threw a pick. Shouldn't be that bad. You get 78 kick return yards when you give up 6 touchdowns. But, yeah, I think just overmatched on the defensive side of things against a team like Georgia. I mean, who's there? Yeah, Stockton threw for 344 yards. We didn't do terrible. We were able to run the ball. Our quarterback's running it 17 times might be a little bit of a problem. He's the leading rusher in the game. We didn't even get any of our other running backs involved in the rushing game. Just Lacey, who went for less than 3 yards a carry, and Joseph, who almost ran for 100 yards. But that's your quarterback. He'd be running 17 times as a quarterback. So not a great start there. Let's see if we can get things back around when we get into the next part of our schedule, the real meat of our schedule, starting with Texas. Maybe Oklahoma was not the right team to go with. I thought that was the best chance to get back in here, but we lose by 2 touchdowns in the Red River shootout. We have a couple chances here in the next couple weeks, but I can't imagine that with how we've done against top-level teams, we're going to have a chance against A&M or Florida in the coming weeks here. We gave up 35 points, almost 500 yards of offense yet again. I bet, this time it makes sense. 3 picks is not going to win you any game. Lacey is not getting any running room. We have to throw the ball, but 3 picks is terrible. I don't think that we're going to be able to pull it off this season. Let's sim through the Florida game and see if we get any big wins here. Turning it around a little bit, we lose only by 3 to A&M, and then we go and get a win on the road at Florida by 11 points. Still not a ranked team outside of the fact that we only have 3 losses, and we do have that win against Florida. Got to win against New Mexico as well. We got to win out here. I don't think that there's really even a chance that we can get towards that SEC championship game, so I think that we're out of the college football playoff hunt, probably for sure. Let's see, conference standings here. Yeah, we're going to need a lot in front of us to happen here, and a lot of teams need to end up losing. Ole Miss is still one of the best teams in the country. That takes a hit for Lane Kiffin, but I don't think we have a chance. Let's just sit through the season and see what offers we get. Okay, so crazier things have happened. We won out. We're in the top 15 in the country, and there's a couple teams ahead of us that have to play in a conference championship game, namely Michigan, who we could have knocked out if we played them earlier in the season, but I think we would have lost to them. South Carolina's right behind us, so we need Tennessee to win that game, and we need to make sure that Texas Tech wins. The fifth qualifier is probably App State or Louisiana. Definitely, actually, App State or Louisiana. So what chances do we have if we look at this top 25 for something crazy to happen and for us to end up in the college football playoff? So, yeah, Michigan, Nebraska is probably the cutoff point. I don't see us jumping over all of these teams to get in there, no matter what happens ahead of it. So we're probably in a bowl game, if anything, but not going to make the college football playoff, even though we had a really good end to the season. If we could have just won that game against A&M instead of losing by 3, there was a good chance that we were in the college football playoff. Ty Simpson wins the Heisman at Tennessee. He did not want to come to Oklahoma. Maybe that was a good choice, but maybe he could have won something at Oklahoma as well. We end up in the Vegas Bowl against Air Force. Not a great season there, but 15th in the country is not terrible. It was just not really how we wanted it to turn out. What did the bracket actually look like? I think App State made it in. The first time I've ever seen App State in the playoffs. So that is pretty crazy. None of the teams that we lost to ended up making it into the playoff in the end. Oh, Georgia. We lost to Georgia. But Texas and Texas A&M both didn't make it into the final or into the bracket at the end anyway. So it wasn't necessarily meant to be for us. But we get the Vegas Bowl. Let's see what offers that we get here for our final season. Florida State's probably not a good choice. Maybe it's the best team available, but they just went 5-7 last season. We just took over a team that had a losing record the season before. I don't think that's the right one to go with. Washington just came off a 3-9 season. Yeah, we're not taking any of these jobs here. We'll take whatever we get next week. So we get 10 wins. We win the Vegas Bowl. That's great. We beat an Air Force team that was 6-6. Not exactly sure how that lineup came into play. But we need to win a national championship next season. And what gives us the best chance? South Carolina has actually been pretty good so far. I think that that's the one that gives us the best chances. Between South Carolina and Boise State, technically Boise State has a higher... I'm going to actually go with Boise State. I think we can get into the portal, make some noise as Lane Kiffin, bring a top-level coach there. We can win the Mountain West, get that 12th spot, and get in there. South Carolina, I think we're going to struggle to get into the playoff, even though they've been pretty good so far. I think that they are the better team, but Boise State is probably the better job for us with what we're trying to do, winning a national championship. So we're going to go with Boise State. Maybe we can win a G5 national championship and make it something happen here with Lane Kiffin. All right, so we're taking over at Boise State. Let's see. We've only got a couple. We got 7 persuasions. Let's see if we can bring back some of the best players. I mean, we need 80s on this team. We're not going to have too many of them. Okay, we got at least one. Now let's just try to keep all these players that we can. Okay, so we increased again on our offensive line recruiting. So we're really going to try to hit the offensive line hard here because probably don't have an offensive line that can win a playoff game right now. We probably have an offensive line that can do fine in the Mountain West, which is kind of the point of going to Boise State, but we need to get one that can win a playoff game because I don't think that we were going to get to the playoff with the other schools that we had available. Wait till you see what we did with this team. We got De'Aaron Hill, which if you haven't seen De'Aaron Hill, you'll see him against Indiana. This dude is good. We got Nate Frazier from Georgia. We got a couple. Our wide receivers weren't as good. I was hoping to get Jurian Dickey, but it kind of, at the end, for whatever reason, said he wasn't getting any playing time, even though I didn't sign any other big wide receivers, or actually any other wide receivers up to that point. So we'll see. We got Dylan Riley to follow us over. Our halfbacks are crazy. We got a lot of help on the offensive line, which is what we needed. And we got Juju Lewis, and we got Malachi Nelson. So our quarterback room is stacked. We ended up signing a ton of players in the transfer portal because there was so many spots available. So we didn't end up getting really any of our biggest wide receiver prospects, which is probably going to be the biggest problem for us, but I think we'll be able to make it work. We should have the best transfer class, though, I would imagine, or one of the best. Yeah, top 5 transfer class. There was no 5-stars out there, so that wasn't really something to get. But we missed out on a couple at the end. Otherwise, we would have had probably the best. If we would have gotten one of the wide receivers, would have had probably the best. But still, a top 20 recruiting class in the country for Boise State is pretty crazy when you think about it. Let me just show you some of the players that we got here. So we got Juju Lewis and Malachi Nelson, like I talked about. They will battle for the starting position. Nate Frazier, Dylan Riley, and De'Aaron Hill all come over, so we'll have a ton of depth in the backfield. Didn't really get our best wide receiver prospects, but we're going to have to kind of play around with things. Maybe somebody can move out to wide receiver. But we got a ton of really good, both freshmen and transfer linemen, which is going to be a very good thing for this team because we're going to need it when it comes to playoff time. And we improved defense quite a bit as well, even with some of the freshman players that are coming in. So, all right, here we are at our training results. We are going to be crazy on offense, maybe not so great on defense. But Juju Lewis is a 91. We got a multiple 90s in our backfield here with Frazier and De'Aaron Hill. Our wideouts are not super great, but we at least have a good amount above 80, which is going to really help getting us through the Mountain West Conference. Our offensive line is not terrible. It's not great, but I think it will be enough with the running backs that we have and the quarterback that we have. Our defense is where we definitely need some help. We're not looking super great on defense, but I kind of messed up by not turning off the auto recruiting. It messed up some of my first week recruiting. I luckily still got some of the best players, but that might have hurt things a little bit. All right, so we're starting off ranked. We are taking on App State, who made the playoff last season. I think we're going to keep that game because we should be able to win through this. UNLV gets a lot worse later on. Maybe Hawaii will be trouble for us, but I think that we should be able to get past this App State. Actually, you know what? I'm actually going to switch out. If we're going to play a team as good as App State, we're going to make it one that can build our resume up. So we're going to go after... I think we're going to go after a matchup with, what's a good one? We're going to go after a matchup with bitch-ass Oklahoma. They're going to have to come play on the blue turf because they didn't get in the playoff last season when we should have been in the playoff, and now they get a number 9 ranking. We started unranked last season. So we're bringing Oklahoma to the blue turf. Hopefully we can get that win, at least get a resume-boosting win, a top 25 matchup at the beginning of the season. We should be able to win out after that. I don't know how this happened, but now we have Jury and Dickey on our team. I was just liking to make sure that we got everybody set up. We have Jury and Dickey on our team for whatever reason. Even that's a weird glitch, but that is a big boost to our team. We've already got some big stat boosts just from the beginning of the season. Frazier's already a 95. Juju Lewis is a 93. I think we have a chance to beat Oklahoma in this here game. So let's see what happens. We lose by a touchdown in the opening game of the season. I don't think it's going to come back to haunt us. I think we're going to be able to still get in there with that game. It was worth a shot at taking that. That sucks. We lose by 7 in the first game. All right, let's sim to the bye on let's sim to week 6 and see where we're at after the rest of the non-conference games. All right, we're back in the top 25. Our only loss is to the number 5 team in the country. We're number 23 here, and I think, outside of Tulane, we're the highest ranked G5 team. Maybe we should have taken on Tulane. They just got a win at Auburn, which is huge for them. So maybe we should have had a matchup against Tulane at the beginning of the season to kind of knock them out. But we're going to have to kind of work it from here and see if we can catch up with them at number 14. Julian Lewis just threw for 5 touchdowns against San Jose State. The first CFP poll has come out. We are in the top 15, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see where we are in relation to Tulane. We are the top ranked G5 team. Tulane had a loss. We've also got Louisiana in the top 25, but we're fighting for maybe just a straight-up spot. We don't even need the automatic qualifier if we can continue to win out. We've got a game on the road, UNLV, this week. UNLV is 4-5. I don't really know what the Mountain West is looking like, so let's go ahead and move over there. It does look like Oklahoma did lose some games, so they're dropping down a little bit. I think we're ranked above Oklahoma right now because they've got 2 losses. So, let's look at the Mountain West standings. Okay, so it's Fresno State that could be coming up, but we don't play them in the regular season, I don't think. Yeah, we don't play them in the regular season. Their only loss is at Washington by 10. So it could be a pretty big Mountain West Championship game if we both continue to win out. Okay, so we're in the Mountain West Championship game against New Mexico. Things are interesting here because we have Tulane right on our heels. They have a top 25 game in their conference championship against FAU. But we are number 11 in the country, so if we win, we probably should be in regardless of AQ things. But it is interesting to see what would happen below us. Let's take a look at the conference championship game schedule just to see kind of what we're looking at here. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3 for sure above us. Oregon should be above us and be 4. We would then be 5 and knock out Tulane unless they got up to the top 12. If Ohio State wins, we could get the 4th and Tulane could get the 5th automatic qualifier if that's how it would work out. So we're probably safe either way, but we have to win here or we are out of the playoff. You cannot make this stuff up, folks. Whoever the Georgia wide receiver wins, we're in the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl because we lost to New Mexico in the conference championship game when we were right on the edge of making it to the college football playoff. We lose to New Mexico in the conference championship game, so that means that Tulane and BYU make it in at the end when we should have had not just an automatic qualifier, but have been in the playoff as probably the number 10 team, maybe the number 11 team, but we lose to New Mexico in the fucking conference championship game. How much did we lose this game by? This is pissing me the fuck off. We lose by 3 points in the conference championship game to New Mexico. How do we even give up 37 points to New Mexico? We ran all over them. We let 370 yards pass, and we even picked them off twice, and we still couldn't stop them. This is stupid by College Football 26. I hated making this video. College Football 26 should be ashamed of themselves. They maybe miss out. I had to do this twice, and the first time they made Ole Miss miss out on the playoffs going 9-3. Then they make Oklahoma miss out on the playoffs going 9-3, and now we miss out on the playoffs because we lose to New Mexico in the conference championship game. How stupid is this game? I'm not even going to simp through the rest of it. I hated making this video. I have a cool idea to make a video, and College Football 26 fucks it up by being stupid.